UFC 266, Ortega versus featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski. I'm Chris from Equity Sports Analytics, and I'm back to give you our best bets for the September 25th UFC 266 card. We are currently on a 2-video losing streak. We haven't done so well in the last month, but before that, we had 11 videos in a row where we made you positive units, and we had a winning record. So far, coming into UFC slash boxing slash MMA on our website, we are up. We have profited our clients 21.69 units. Let's try to get some plus unit profit here for you for this UFC 266 card. We have 5 best bets, and we'll get right into them. Beginning with Chris Daukas versus Shamil Abdurakhimov. So Chris Daukas is a young guy coming up, and he's been on fire. Abdurakhimov is a veteran. He's 40 years old. We're going to give Chris Daukas out. You can get him at 1.50. He has to win this fight. Implied odds 66% of the time. We think that he's 70 to 75%. 40-year-olds. Let me talk about 40-year-olds for a second. Abdurakhimov is 40 years old. We have that's a play in and of itself. That's a system. There's more things that go into this. We've put this through other filters, but just on its own, if you fade 40-year-olds, you are way up. We look at Alistair Overeem in his last fight with Volkov. Just stuff like where you have money on these 40-year-olds and you go, oh my goodness, this is embarrassing. I had no chance at all. Overeem, they just aren't accountable. They don't give a good account of themselves, and they just aren't there. It's like if you're in a fight with your 75-year-old dad, they'll just push them and they'll go flying across the room. Overeem had a bad performance. Olenek and Daukas has already destroyed a 44-year-old in his last fight, so he's used to beating up old men. We have Holyfield, of course. Holyfield threw a right hook, and he literally fell out of the ring. He was 58, but same kind of thing. He was facing a 44-year-old, but age just doesn't treat these people kindly. Fabrizio Werdum is 44, and he lost in a very strange fashion where he choked someone out. They tapped, but Werdum thought he had tapped, and then let go a little bit and then got knocked out and just no chin. Yoel Romero didn't know how many rounds were left, didn't fight well at all. Marion Renault got beat up by Misha Tate. The list goes on and on. Anderson Silva was not accountable at his Halloween fight last year. Just as soon as he got hit, had no chin. Damian Maia just looked awful. So we are going against Abdurakhimov. I'm going to start this off with saying there is no way that a 40-year-old Abdurakhimov is going to beat Chris Daukas, and I'm prepared to pay lots of money to find out. So that should be fun. If we win, then we win. We take advantage of old people. If we lose, I'm prepared to spend $500 on seeing Daukas lose to someone who's over 40. Okay, mark my words, Chris Daukas is fine in this fight. Next, we have Jessica Andrade coming off that shellacking of Valentina Shevchenko. She's going to be facing Cynthia Calvillo. We think that the over 2.5 in this fight has tons of value. You can get that at Bet365 at 1.72. We've given that out to our clients already. The books are shying away. If you're familiar with what we do, we look at 20 books, we look at 20 experts, we see where the money's moving. We also take a look at where the books are shying away from action. The books want you to be betting under. We see the narrative in this is that Andrade is coming back and she's going to be pissed off about that loss. She's at a way higher caliber than Cynthia Calvillo, so she's going to come here and knock Cynthia Calvillo out. Cynthia Calvillo is not quite the fighter that Andrade is, but she's got great durability, and we're getting a women's fight. We're getting close to pick'em odds here for an over 2.5, so that's where we're going to lay our money. Andrade Calvillo over 2.5. Next fight, we have The feature bout, so the third last fight of the night, we have Robbie Lawler facing Nick Diaz. Lawler is 39. Nick Diaz is 38. Now, everything in my DNA is telling me pick Lawler here. There's been pictures all over Instagram, social media that Nick Diaz, all he does is drink and party and hang out for the last 5 years since he was suspended by the Commission for Marijuana Use, which I think is ridiculous, but that's another story. It's sad that he's lost half of his career to that kind of thing when we made so much progress otherwise. But the narrative is that Nick Diaz isn't ready for this fight. Also, he asked just in the last 24 hours if they could move this fight up a weight class. So Nick Diaz didn't want to cut weight. Robbie Lawler, of course, to get the paycheck, has accepted. So Diaz is just looking like a mess here. He didn't show up for media day. Everybody's worried about him. He's been partying a lot. Lawler's been active. And so the narrative is that Diaz is going to get his ass kicked in this fight. Line opened at 1.91 for Lawler. Ever so slight favorite at Pinnacle. Now Lawler is at 1.69 at Pinnacle. You can get him for slightly higher at some other books. Bet365 or William Hill, you can get him at slightly higher. We're taking Diaz here. Narrative is everything. The books are well aware of the narrative. Everybody and their mother is on Lawler here. We love to be contrarian in these spots. If you always go with the narrative and that's the thing, right? If you think, oh, it's raining or, oh, it's doing something, if you're betting baseball or football and you think that you know something that the sports books don't, trust me, they are always heavily padding the narrative side of things. So if you're betting on Lawler, you're paying an absolute premium to bet on him here. The line has moved accordingly, so we know that most of the money's coming in on Lawler. Diaz is the play here, folks. Who knows what's going to happen? Diaz could get knocked out in the first round. We could look silly. But more often than not, we have Diaz is gonna shine here. He's going to do well. And in the long run, we definitely have positive EV on this side. Always go against these obvious narratives. As a side note, Dan Hooker, we don't have an official play on him yet, but it's the same thing. He's flying across the world on a giant flight from New Zealand to the States. He's going to cut weight at the last minute and then fight Haqparast. We don't have an official play on this yet, but we probably will be on the Hooker side. Again, the narrative is that Hooker is chinny. He just fought Chandler and got knocked out. Now he's coming in here flying. He's going to be cramped, and he's going to be cutting weight at the last minute here. Maybe if this was the 70s and 80s, a flight across the world would have give someone jet lag and they'd feel bad. Hooker's a top caliber athlete, and it's 2021. He's probably traveling in style. He's probably traveling very comfortably. Again, the books are well aware of this narrative, and you're paying a premium to bet on Haqparast. All the value is going to be on Hooker here. Next fight. So we have Nick Diaz, of course. Before we move on, Nick Diaz over Robbie Lawler as our pick. Next fight here. This is the last fight of the night. We're going to be doing this one, plus we're going to be giving you a parlay of the week here. Volkanovski versus Brian Ortega. Books are not happy to be taking in Volkanovski money, so we're going to be on Volkanovski most likely. We have not released this play, but we see this. Ortega just fought an amazing fight against the Korean Zombie. Volkanovski's been off for a while, and the narrative is that he lost to Max Holloway, even though the judges gave him that decision. We find normally that these Volkanovski is probably the best featherweight that there's ever been. Ortega, we think it's an anomaly how well he fought against the Korean Zombie. We think both things are going to return to the mean here, regression to the mean, and Volkanovski is going to win this rather convincingly. So Alexander Volkanovski is the pick. Lastly, we are putting a parlay together here. The parlay of the week. We're going to have Parlay-Dvalishvili and Tyler Santos. Merab is facing Marlon Moraes. We think that he's going to be in danger, obviously, in the first 2.5 minutes or so. Moraes could KO him. But if Merab can get past that, then we think that he's going to be in good shape. As well as a bonus, we think that this fight has a decent shot at going under. You're getting huge plus money around 2.65 for the under. Either Morales is going to knock out Merab, but more than likely Moraes is going to gas out, and Merab is probably going to finish him, because Moraes has just not looked good even at the end of his first rounds, never mind going 3 rounds. So we're taking Merab as the first half of our parlay. As an extra bonus, we're looking hard at the under 2.5. And then Tyler Santos is facing Roxanne Modafari. We think that this is an absolute mismatch. Tyler Santos all day. And so Merab plus Tyler Santos as our parlay of the week. Always keep those unit sizes small, folks. We've been on a losing streak for the last month and a half. We are still up around 30 units for the year. We intend to make our clients we've been through 6 months of our year here. We intend to make our clients 96 units, and we're still feeling confident about that and on pace, but we've hit a bit of a cold streak lately. So keep those unit sizes small, and so that you can be insulated. And we've been hot in the last week or so, but we never want to. No fight is worth that much. No game. Anything can happen in any of these things. So when you're taking anyone's advice, don't go putting the mortgage on it. Put your regular unit size, which should be 1 to 3% of your bankroll, and you'll be just fine. I'm Chris from Equity Sports Analytics, and remember that friends don't let friends gamble without math.